Good evening, everyone. It's a lot later than I planned to film this. This is gonna hopefully be a pretty quick garden tour because I am very, very quickly running out of light. Things are looking a little sad in the garden, but it's mostly just because I haven't been the best for watering this week. You know, it happens. I'm gonna start off with the beans and the bucket. Not sponsored by Home Depot. We've been getting tons of beans, which is great, but the Japanese beetles are all over the beans. Like if I showed you up top, the Japanese beetles are just going to town, but it's not bothering the production of the beans whatsoever. It may be hard to see in this light, so maybe I'll come back when all the twinkle lights turn on. But there's so many beans. We've just been harvesting them every single day. So I figure as long as the beans are producing, I'm not going to be like going crazy fighting these Japanese beetles. I'm just gonna, pick them off. Every time I go up there, I have to literally go up on a ladder to collect them every day. And that's why the bucket's there, because when I'm up there, just kind of like swipe them into the bucket. My hanging baskets are looking pretty sad. They're basically done. See? They missed a few too many days of watering. It's fine, I'll leave them empty for a few weeks and then in the fall I'll put some mums in. Despite how sad my peppers look, they're actually doing very, very well. My only problem has been blossom end rot and a little bit of sun scald. Honestly, the blossom end rot is 100% my fault. It's just because I haven't been great with watering, and that's just the honest truth. I've been kind of lazy this week. Oops. My sunflowers are not as glorious as they were. A lot of them are dying back. I was hoping to save seeds from them, but we have a little issue. Some birds have made them a tasty treat. Look at this one. There's literally nothing left of the flower head. There are these super, super sweet little yellow finches that have been around my garden, and I'm pretty sure they've been just going to town on the sunflowers. And they're only eating the ones that are done anyway, so I figure either they eat them or I deadhead them. I mean, I'd love to save the seeds, but it looks like that's not going to happen. But I don't mind feeding a few birds because there's nothing wrong with having birds in your garden. Last week, we found tomato hornworms. And so every day we came out diligently. I even got a black light. But by the time my black light came, we had gotten rid of them all. I haven't found any since. I think I found about 5, and they were all pretty young when I found them. The one I showed in last week's tour, I think it was in the tour, yeah, was the biggest one I found. So that's awesome. Hopefully we keep them away, but if not, I'm prepared. I've got my black light, which is great. But we've been harvesting. You can see a lot of my San Marzanos are almost ripe and blushing, which is really awesome. I'll be making pasta soon. This plant here is a homestead tomato. Let me go around so you can see. So this one here and that one are homestead tomatoes. I harvested a few and got to try them this week, and I have to say it's not my favorite. I probably won't grow the homestead again because honestly it just tastes like your basic tomato from the store. I hope I don't offend anyone. I'm sure there's somebody who like the homestead tomato is their favorite one, but it's just nothing special. And if I'm going to put in all this work to protect them and prune them and care for them, I want it to be like an awesome tomato. I'm sure any of you other gardeners can understand. Now, the bumblebee cherry tomatoes, they're called purple bumblebee cherry tomatoes, which is funny because they don't actually get purple at all. They're just red and green. But they are delicious. I love them. And I hate tomatoes. If you've watched like my 2020 goals videos and stuff like that, you'll know that I really don't like tomatoes, and this year I'm trying to learn to like tomatoes. So the fact that I actually really like these is huge. We quartered them and sauteed them up in butter the other day with just salt and pepper. Oh my gosh, it was like a spoonful of amazing, like day-old pasta sauce with every bite. It was awesome. It was so awesome. And that's saying something because I'm like mixed blood. There's a little bit of everything in my blood, but the only traditions we have are from Italian heritage. I am by no means Italian, but that's just the only traditions we have. And we have a recipe that's a pasta sauce from my great grandmother who came from Italy to Canada. And so I know what good pasta sauce tastes like, and it was so good. Now this is exciting, and I don't know if you'll be able to see. I might have to come back and shoot, but I have a little carrot here and another little one right there. Oh yeah, you can see it in the video. 2 carrots have germinated. Actually, those little baby carrots just germinated today because when I was out this morning, they were not there. So that's pretty cool. Okay, flower bed. Really nothing to report. The giant sunflower is getting more giant and has a head, but it hasn't bloomed yet. Oh, actually, this is kind of funny. So let me turn around. So this sunflower that came inside the chicken wire, we had to cut a hole in the chicken wire for it because it was coming through. Aren't all my lights so beautiful? The lighting's probably terrible in this video, but the twinkle lights are adorable. Here you can see some of my beans now. There's tons of them, they're everywhere. I love these lights so much. If you have a garden, I highly recommend just like polluting it with lights, because it's just so nice. Like, we come out in the garden in the evening and get eaten alive by bugs, but it's so worth it because it's just so peaceful and lovely. Here are the peas I planted. You won't be able to see this, I'm sure, but in right here, there's 2 that have sprouted there. So they're coming. Back to the tomatoes, actually. I'm having some trellising issues. They're getting so big and I can't bring myself to top them to get them to stop growing up. So look at, so here are my cherry tomatoes. This one's fallen over again, but I don't know if you can tell. I have a string connecting this plant to that plant and that plant to the homestead tomato behind it, and this one I'm actually going to connect to this post as well. Instead of just extending my posts up, I'm just making a twine web. I think I'm going to try to keep the camera like this because the lighting is better. So on Monday, I have a video coming out about cloning tomatoes. And this little tomato plant right here is what I used as my example because I had a branch break off like weeks and weeks ago. And it's actually working. I didn't think it would take, just because when you're cloning tomato plants, you should do them with smaller suckers. This one was massive. Like, it was a big long branch and then had another big sucker that I could cut off that sucker, and even that one would be big. And it had fruit on it when I transplanted it, and so I was like, this isn't gonna work, like it's just gonna die. And it's actually doing fine. I need to water it so much. It needs so much water, but even the fruit that were on it when it fell off the other plant are starting to grow. Isn't that wild? You can see here, these are all my red Chinese noodle beans, and they are doing really well. A lot of them are starting to produce sort of like a second set of leaves, which is great. So these didn't get watered today, that's why it's so sad. This is a dragon's tongue bush bean. I have another one that's in better shape than this one. The saddest part is, look, someone is eating, and you know who's eating this? Cucumber beetles. Freaking cucumber beetles. Those little ones that were getting chomped, I might not use them because I just don't want to risk if they already have introduced that bacterial wilt. Like, what's the point? It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm gonna do a few successions of them, so I think this week or next week, I have to double check my calendar, I'm going to be planting my second succession of bush beans. So I'm going to put those starts in the garden, and then I'm going to put some seeds right in the garden. So that's pretty exciting. So now what have I got started for fall? For fall, I've got bush beans, I've got pole beans, peas, snap peas. Actually, I think one is a shelling pea and one is a snap pea. I've got some beets and I've got some turnips. And this week we're going to be planting some second successions of a few things. I think I'm planting more beets, possibly more turnips, and I might even plant more peas. We'll see. So some of the peas, I want to replace the Blue Lake pole beans. I want to replace those with more peas. And so I think I'm just gonna wait just maybe another week or two. I might be pushing it. Maybe I will just plant them. We'll see. Who even freaking knows? I don't know. My zucchini plant, it's getting so dark. Looks terrible. There is a flower on it. It will get demolished probably tonight. It 1000% is bacterial wilt. That's really bad, and I'm really upset that that's in my soil, but I'm just so afraid to pull it, because if I pull it, then the cucumber beetles are gonna go to something else, and I don't want them to go to anything else in my garden. So, dilemma. Yeah, I think that's all I have to report. There's not a whole lot going on in my garden this week. Look how pretty. That's all. It is so dark. I really need to sign off. Thank you so much for joining me on this really sort of all over the place tour. I really appreciate you being here. I'm up to 130 subscribers when I'm filming this video, which is just mind-blowing to me. I started my channel in April or May. Honestly, I started doing it just for fun, and I didn't even tell anyone about it for 2 months. There are 130 of you that care about my garden. And it's not like I have a big, amazing, beautiful garden like Jess at Roots and Refuge or Jill from Whispering Willow Farm. There's so many incredibly beautiful gardens on the internet, and mine's just like a 10-foot by 10-foot little square, and 130 people care enough to subscribe. So this has been so much fun. I've already made friends through this. Like, I've made friends, people I talk to on a regular basis through YouTube. Who would have thought? Here's a final look at my beautiful lights. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate you. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope your garden is looking absolutely beautiful. I will see you very soon. Goodbye.